I used to believe cheating happened suddenly. Like in movies, a lipstick stain on a collar, a late-night phone call, a dramatic confession. But real betrayal? It happens quietly, slowly, right in front of you while you're still calling someone home. My name is Emily, and for 7 years I thought my husband Daniel was the safest thing in my life. We lived in a quiet neighborhood outside Chicago. Nothing glamorous, just an ordinary American marriage built on routines, Sunday grocery runs, Netflix nights, burnt pancakes on Saturday mornings, and falling asleep beside each other after long work days. I loved that life. I loved him. And maybe that's why I never saw the ending coming. It started with a wedding invitation. Daniel's cousin was getting married in Boston, and honestly, I was excited for the trip. We hadn't traveled together in months because of work. The night of the wedding, I remember standing in the hotel bathroom, fixing my makeup, while Daniel adjusted his tie behind me. "You still nervous in heels?" he teased. I laughed. "Only because you walk too fast." He smiled at me through the mirror. God. I replay that smile in my head, sometimes wondering if he already knew everything would change that night. The wedding venue looked beautiful. Golden lights, live music, ocean view. The kind of place that makes everyone suddenly emotional about love. For the first hour, everything felt normal. Until I noticed Daniel staring across the ballroom. Not casually. Frozen. Like he'd seen a ghost. I followed his eyes and saw a woman standing near the champagne table. Tall, elegant, dark red dress. She looked confident in a way I never did. Then she smiled at him, and Daniel smiled back. Not politely, not awkwardly. It was familiar, intimate, the kind of smile people don't forget. The woman slowly walked toward us. Daniel. Even hearing her say his name made my stomach tighten. "Oh my God. Rachel," he said softly. Rachel, his ex-fiancée, the woman he almost married before me. I knew about her, technically. Daniel mentioned her once years ago, very briefly. They were together for 5 years, engaged for 1. Then suddenly they broke up. I never asked questions because I trusted him. That was my first mistake. Rachel turned toward me with a graceful smile. "You must be Emily." I nodded politely. "It's nice to meet you." But something already felt wrong. The energy between them felt unfinished, like two people reopening a chapter they never fully closed. Throughout the wedding, I kept catching Daniel looking at her. Little things, tiny things, the kind only wives notice. At one point, I saw them laughing together near the dance floor while I sat alone at our table pretending not to care. That feeling, that quiet ache in your chest when you suddenly realize someone else has your husband's attention? I'll never forget it. On the drive back to the hotel, I stayed quiet. Daniel noticed immediately. "You okay?" "Yeah. You seem upset." I stared out the passenger window. "You never told me Rachel would be there." "I didn't know she would be." "But you looked happy to see her." He sighed. "She was a huge part of my life, Emily. Of course it was emotional." Emotional? That word stayed in my head for days. After we returned home to Chicago, things slowly changed. Daniel became distant. Not cold exactly, just elsewhere. He started smiling at his phone more often, taking calls outside, working late unexpectedly. At first I told myself I was overthinking, because when you love someone deeply, your brain will work overtime trying to protect your heart from the truth. But women know. We always know. One Saturday afternoon, I went downtown to buy my sister a birthday gift. The city was crowded, noisy, alive. And then I saw Daniel's car parked outside a luxury hotel. At first I actually smiled. I thought maybe I could surprise him. But then reality hit me. He was supposed to be at a business conference 3 hours away. I felt my stomach drop instantly. I sat frozen inside my car, staring at the hotel entrance, and then I saw him. Daniel walked out of the lobby, and Rachel walked out beside him, laughing, comfortable, close, like they belonged together. I remember whispering, "Please don't touch her," like somehow he could hear me from across the street. But he did. She touched his arm first. Then he leaned closer, and then she kissed him. Small, soft, natural. Like it had happened before. My entire body went numb. I didn't scream. I didn't confront them. I just sat there, unable to breathe while my marriage collapsed in front of me. People walked past my car laughing, shopping, living their normal lives while mine ended silently in a hotel parking lot. I cried so hard I gave myself a headache. But the worst part, it wasn't even the cheating. It was realizing that the man I trusted most looked happy betraying me. That night, Daniel came home pretending everything was normal. "How was your day?" he asked casually. I looked at him, standing in our kitchen like a complete stranger. "Good," I whispered. He kissed my forehead, and I almost broke right there. Because once trust dies, even affection feels fake. 3 days later, I confronted him. I couldn't carry the pain anymore. "We need to talk." The second he saw my face, he knew. "I saw you," I said quietly. His expression changed instantly. At the hotel. Silence. Heavy silence. Finally, he sat down and covered his face with his hands. "Emily." "How long?" "It wasn't supposed to happen." I laughed through tears. "Cheating never just happens, Daniel." He looked broken. But honestly, so was I. "She brought back feelings I thought were gone," he admitted. That sentence destroyed me more than the affair itself, because it meant part of his heart had never really left her. "So what am I?" I asked. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "You're my wife, but not the woman you love." He couldn't answer, and silence can hurt more than honesty. A week later, I moved out. I found a tiny apartment across town with creaky floors and terrible lighting, but at least it was peaceful. The first month after leaving him was brutal. I cried constantly, at grocery stores, in the shower, at red lights. I stopped wearing makeup, stopped answering calls, stopped recognizing myself. There's something humiliating about betrayal. You start questioning everything. Was I not pretty enough? Not exciting enough. Did he compare us every day? I tortured myself with those thoughts for months. Then one morning, something changed. I was sitting alone drinking coffee when I realized I hadn't cried yet that day. And for the first time in months, I felt calm. Not happy, but lighter. Healing starts quietly. You don't notice it immediately. It's small things, laughing at a joke again, sleeping peacefully, listening to music without crying, remembering who you were before someone broke your heart. So I started rebuilding my life. I joined a gym, started therapy, cut my hair shorter, took weekend road trips alone. I even enrolled in photography classes, something I always wanted to do but kept postponing during marriage. And slowly, I came back to life. Meanwhile, Daniel kept texting me. I miss you. I made a mistake. I still love you. But funny enough, once someone destroys your trust completely, their words lose value. One night, almost 8 months after our separation, Daniel asked to meet me for coffee. I almost said no. But part of me needed closure. When I saw him again, he looked older, tired. Regret changes people too. We sat quietly for a moment before he finally spoke. Rachel left. I felt nothing hearing that. No satisfaction, no revenge, just emptiness. She realized she only loved the memory of us, he continued quietly. And I destroyed my marriage, chasing the past. I stared at my coffee cup silently. Then he looked at me with tears in his eyes. I lost the best thing that ever happened to me. Months earlier, hearing that would have shattered me. Now, it just sounded sad. Because sometimes people realize your value only after they ruin everything. Daniel asked if we could try again. And for a moment, I thought about it, about our memories, our history, the life we built together. But then I remembered the hotel parking lot. I remembered the way he smiled at her, the lies, the sleepless nights, the version of me that stopped loving herself because of his choices. So I shook my head gently. I forgive you, I said softly, but I can't trust you anymore. And without trust, love becomes survival. That night, I walked out of the coffee shop, feeling something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Freedom. Real freedom. Not because I stopped loving him completely, but because I finally started loving myself more. And honestly, that saved my life.